Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neuro-Inclusive Dog Pod, the podcast where we bridge the gap between neurodiversity and the dog world. So today I'm joined by another fantastic guest, which is Emily from Canine Allies. So I'm going to let Emily introduce herself because she'll do a much better job of it than I do. So thank you very much for joining us, Emily. Can you tell us a bit about what you do and the work you do at Canine Allies?
Yeah, so my name's Emily Dashwood. I am the director and head trainer at Canine Allies. So at Canine Allies, we help disabled people train their own pet dogs to be assistance dogs. So, for example, in the dog world, there are lots of different ways you can get an assistance dog, but there's quite a lot of difficult ways. You can get like program dogs, owner trained dogs. Program dogs are very hard to get. So we help people train their own dogs to become an assistance dog, and we do that online and in person. So we'll do it just like this over a call, or we can meet them in person as well. And we can even do things like just voice sessions, text sessions as well. And we also do supply program puppies as well. So we will train some dogs up and supply those, but we do focus on the owner training side of things.
Amazing. So it's quite a diverse range of stuff that you do there. So what inspired you to start a business focused on owner trained assistants? So I know you do everything, but what inspired you to do the work that you do?
So originally I was a paramedic in the ambulance for 2 years, had to
Mhm.
leave that due to my own condition when I got diagnosed with POTS.
Right.
Looking into getting an assistance dog, I realized that from the majority of charities, it's like a 5 year wait and
Wow.
20 grand ish for a dog, which
Wow.
when you're disabled, you don't have that kind of money spare. We have a lot of other things that we're trying to spend that on. You got medication, other mobility aids, things like
Yeah.
that. And when I realized that wasn't an option, I found owner training, and I was like, okay, I'll train my own dog. So I got my own dog. But then I was looking for organizations that can just support me in training.
Yeah.
But I found there wasn't one that had like a support network. I found they just kind of they give you the training and then they're like, okay, see you later kind of thing.
Right.
So I wanted to create a community where people could actually come together, not just for training, but to support each other. Because having a disability is hard. Like people don't understand you really unless you either really explain it to them and they want to understand, or
Yeah.
they have it themselves and they know how to understand and they can give you tips as well. And so our little community, they all kind of look after each other. We have a big group chat for them and they will all just talk all day long, just support each other,
Amazing.
have fun.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think community is a massive part of anything. Like, well, we all like to feel part of something, don't we? I think the dog world in general can be quite isolating in some respects, especially when you've got a disability, whether that's a mental disability or a physical one. And I can definitely relate to that. And that's one of the reasons why I've created the Neuro-Inclusive Dog Hub and stuff, because I think the more we spread awareness and talk about these things, the more people can relate, and then they come in and it just creates this really nice community of people that just get it and that have been there and they understand. And so a lot of the stigmas and barriers I think are broken down because they just get it, don't they? So you create this nice little community of people that are just nice and helpful. So amazing. So when it comes to the differences between owner trained dogs and program trained dogs, can you tell the listeners the differences between those and what are the pros and cons of each?
Yeah, of course. So owner training your assistance dog is where you would get the dog yourself and then you train the dog yourself. And you can do that a variety of different ways. Some people can do that entirely by themselves. You can do
Mhm.
it with the support of a private trainer. You can do it with the support of an organization like us.
Mhm.
Um, Even some of the bigger charities will help with owner training as well.
Mhm.
So there's many different options you can go down. I do find with owner training, you do get a lot more efficient tasking. So when you're owner training the dog, you're bringing the dog up, you're bonding the dog from day one.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got a program dog, which is the ones where we supply, we'll train, and then we'll give when they're fully trained, you kind
Mhm.
of just get given this dog that knows everything, but they're not as bonded to you, so they're more reluctant to task for you. Whereas if you've trained the dog yourself, they know you, they know your smells, they're happy to task for you, they're very comfortable to do that. I find with owner training, it's a lot more accessible for a lot of people, so you don't have to spend 20 grand. You don't have to wait 5 years to do it. Obviously, you have to kind of wait 2 years to for the dog to be fully trained. But even
Yeah.
then, whilst they're in training, they're still tasking, they're still doing that job. And
Yeah.
I find it gives people with disabilities something to do as well,
Yeah.
something to focus on, which I know a lot of people with disabilities, they like to have something to focus on because that helps them through it as well.
Yeah.
Um, there's some downsides to owner training. So, for example, there's not 100% success rate. Whereas program dogs, obviously, we will only supply the dog if we believe that this dog's going to make it and
Yeah.
have a good career as an assistance dog. So
Yeah.
you can do all things possible to try and help your owner trained dog become a fully trained dog. So you can do like temperament testing, you can have a well-bred litter, you can make sure they're health tested, all things like that, but there's no guarantee
Yeah.
that they're going to do that. Another thing when you're owner training is that you have to kind of consider, am I well enough to look after and bring up a dog? Because, for example, if you are owner training, you don't always have to do it from a puppy, but we do recommend it to be from a puppy.
Yeah.
So you can make sure that you get the right socializations, things like that.
Yeah.
Where it can be quite difficult if you are disabled to look after a puppy.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just kind of putting yourself first, thinking what's best for me, what route is going to be best for me. Kind of thing.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I think it's like everything with dog ownership in general, everything's so individual, isn't it, to the person and stuff. And just picked up on something you said there about owner trained ones and how it kind of can give somebody an outlet and something to do. And I think that's kind of I can understand that. And from a mental health perspective, so way back over 11 years ago, I got my first dog because I was at a point where I was so anxious I couldn't leave the house. And that was that the dog gave me a reason to leave the house because I have to walk him, I have to, take him out, give him experiences. So I completely get that because, and I suppose it for me, it was, even though he's not a trained assistance dog or anything like that, he was just literally a pet at that point to help me get out of the house. It definitely helped my mental health because number one, I was getting out and about and I was able to talk to people because he was like a talking point in things. But it kind of gives you something else to focus on rather than what's going on in your head, or I can imagine what's going on in your body and things like that. So I do completely get that. So when it comes to your experience, what do you find that the main misconceptions are around owner trained assistance dogs, and how do you try and educate people and help them to get through that? Because I know that sometimes it can be a little bit of stigma and it can be quite overwhelming, can't it? Like you should do this or you should do that. So how do you tend to help people through those kind of things?
So usually with program dogs, especially from big charities, they'll always be supplied with like a branded jacket, an ID card, and that kind of thing. Whilst they're not legally required at all, that's the kind of things that businesses and companies will look at. So for our dogs, as long as even our owner trained dogs, as long as they pass stage 1, which is just meeting the minimum requirements, so we know they're going to behave well in public, we give them the exact same branded jacket, the exact same looking ID. It looks all the exact same. We don't necessarily encourage them to use the ID, but for example, if we have people with nonverbal autism, or if talking to a security guard like that is going to really stress them out, then we usually say, okay, just show your card, that will help you through it. It even says on our cards, proof of ID or proof of training is not required, so they can learn it by reading on there as well, but it just saves those who may not be able to cope with it. Just saves them a little bit of stress as well. I do find with businesses, especially at the minute, they've kind of gone a bit backwards. So owner trained dogs have the exact same rights as program dogs, but a lot of businesses kind of seem to think, well, if you don't have certification, in quotations, because there's no such thing, then your dog's not a real assistance dog and they'll deny you access and not let you in. Which obviously is really difficult when you're just trying to go about your normal day. I don't know, just doing like a food shop, and you can't even do that. So there's definitely a massive problem where businesses aren't listening and they're just denying people. So another thing that we do have is we have something called our inaccessible signage project. So this is kind of like a survey where this isn't even just open to just our members. We open this to everyone. So all assistance dogs, even if they've trained it completely by themselves, we'll invite them to come onto our form, fill it out if they've had an access issue with a place. They can say, did it have like incorrect signage? Like, does it on the door say guide dogs only? Or does it say assistance dogs only? So is it got the wrong signage? Were you denied access? What kind of things were they saying? And then we'll go contact that business on their behalf, because obviously it's quite scary by yourself going to talk to a massive business. Whereas we have like loads of legal documents that we can show them and be like, right, look, this is the legislation. We have things that back it up. We have cases that back it up. And we can have a nice discussion with them. 9 times out of 10, it goes very, very well. We've had people change the signage on their doors. We've had people call the customer back in and be like, I'm really sorry, and they give them like a gift card or something like that. There's a few difficult ones that kind of still fight it, but we're still working with them to
Yeah.
hopefully improve it.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's it. It's kind of like education, isn't it, in all kinds of areas. And I think, like you say, when people, it's hard enough sometimes for people to just go about their own daily life without facing these extra barriers. And a lot of things, like you say, there isn't any legal, I don't know the ins and outs of it like you do, but there isn't the legal things behind it. A lot of it, I think, I suppose, will depend as well as who you come across in that place of work. So one worker might say different to a different worker and stuff. And I think it's so open to people's interpretations and their own biases, I suppose, isn't it? And I find for somebody that's like for me when I was anxious back in those days, just when it's just leaving the house and doing something as simple as just doing a food shop or something. Obviously I didn't take my dog with me to that, but it can be scary enough to navigate without all of this extra pressure. So I like the fact that you're doing that and saying, like, trying to talk to the businesses on their behalf to make it a lot easier for them. So that's amazing. So when it comes to the type of people that you work with, the type of disabilities, do you find it's a certain area that you focus on, or is there a wide range of people that you help?
So we're very open to a lot of conditions. So my background being a paramedic, I feel quite comfortable knowing about the majority of conditions, or if I haven't heard of it, I'm quite comfortable and confident that I'm going to be able to go and learn about it, so I know how
Yeah,
to help that person. So for that
yeah.
reason, we are open to all disabilities.
Mhm.
I do find that we have a large percentage is a specific type. So I would say probably about 75% is a mix of medical and psychiatric. And
Yeah,
then you got a smaller percentage, but we do still train them of like allergen detection, so ones that would detect like nuts and onions in foods. You've got mobility assistance dogs, so ones that, for example, if someone's in a wheelchair, they can't reach something on a lower shelf, the dog can go and retrieve that, or if they drop it, then they can retrieve that as well. So there's a lot of different types, and we're very happy to cover all of them.
amazing. I can imagine that creates a very varied work day for you and a varied wide range of things that you cover and people that you work with. So I can imagine as well, the talking about the community bit earlier on, it creates quite a lovely diverse community of people, isn't it? And I find, I mean, I am just scratching the surface when it comes to neurodiversity and that kind of thing. So I'm quite early on in my own journey, and every day is a school day kind of thing. But what I've found as well is when people have one condition, they often have another condition. So, for example, I've got both autism and ADHD. And I think as well, by talking to other people, I was just talking to a lady this morning who had been diagnosed with one. And she says, "Oh, something you've said makes me realize that I might have the other one." And she was like, kind of thing. So I think by creating that community, you can also help people to discover new things about themselves as well, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. I do find as well some charities will only specifically take one type of condition. So there's some charities that will only help mental health disorders. But for example, a lot of people with mental health disorders will also have physical disorders. But
Yeah.
that charity isn't able to help them train tasks for the physical disability. So I find if you have a charity like us where we help with both, then
Yeah.
you've kind of got all areas covered.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off, and I suppose it makes your clients feel a lot more at ease as well because they understand that you get it, don't they? So
Yeah,
amazing.
definitely.
So when it comes to owner trained assistance dogs, one thing I have noticed with especially with social media, and I don't know whether this is a social media thing or just a general thing, that a lot of the owner trained assistance dogs I've seen tend to be with more younger people. Do you think that's a common assumption, a right assumption, and what do you reckon the reasons for that are?
So probably one of the largest reasons is because of program dogs being so expensive.
Mm,
A lot of younger people don't have that kind of money put aside, whereas if people are
yeah,
older, they've kind of had the opportunity to save a little bit. They might be able to find ways to fundraise for it, whereas, like, for example, a 14-year-old isn't really going to know how to fundraise as well.
yeah,
So it's definitely a lot easier for them to be able to afford a dog, especially if they have family supporting the
yeah,
dog as well. I also do find that, especially with program dogs, they will usually assess the family or the member. So
right,
if they find that, for example, a younger person and they're still living with their family, they may not prioritize to give them an assistance dog because they've already got that support network
right,
at
yeah,
home as a family compared to, say, for example, someone who lives by themselves, if they're older.
yeah,
Younger people, I do tend to find that because they'd have a lot more kind of time on their hands, so a lot of disabled children will have limited hours at school, so they have a
Mhm.
lot more hours to focus on training a dog as well.
Yeah,
And I do find as well that younger people, they just like having a bond with things. But once you're older, you
yeah,
kind of learn how to look after yourself, and you kind of not get used to being alone, but you kind of become more comfortable with it. Where I
yeah,
found children like having a bond, they like being able to have a best friend, which dogs is
yeah,
everyone's best friend.
yeah, definitely.
um, I do find also like training your own assistance dog, you have to have consistency. And I feel like children, especially if they are training their own assistance dog, it's not detrimental to the dog's training if they have a sick day because their parents can help for one day.
Yeah,
Or if they have any friends or family that they live with, guardians, things like that. So for example, even if I don't know, they're at hospital for a week, they're
yeah,
whoever's at home can still look after the dog and they can carry on the training for that week. So it's not like nothing's happened
yeah,
and you're gonna go backwards. So I feel like there's just a lot more support. Um, I find like children, yeah, they love the bond. It gives them something to do as well because I feel like with disabled children, they do tend to have that limited hours at school and they don't usually have something that they like to thrive for because they haven't been able to have that option of seeing what's out there as well.
yeah,
Whereas I feel like if they're able to train their own dog, I feel like that's a form of education in some way. So they
yeah,
get to learn about dog behavior, they get to learn about training, they get to learn about body language, which that gets their brain working. And I find a lot of them really, really enjoy it. And some of them
yeah.
even end up going and like jobs in it, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I do think that dog, I mean, I'm obviously biased, but I think dogs do open up so much for so many different people. And I think there's nothing better, is it, when you see like some of the ones I've seen on social media, when you see their how they're training the dog and the care they take into it. And some of the people I follow and they get them the vest and they get all different colored vests because they like them to wear different things and stuff. It's just such a nice, like you say, they're creating this nice bond. And I think they're both the dog and the handler are enjoying it just as much as each other, aren't they? I suppose.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
can you walk me through the process of how someone would go about training their own assistance dog? So, what is the first thing they should like do, and what are the steps involved?
So owner training your own assistance dog is the biggest start point is that you have to get your own dog.
Yeah.
So obviously some trainers or some organizations, some won't, some will, but for example, we help them pick a puppy. So your first step is kind of deciding how confident you are training a dog. Have you had loads of dogs before? Are you quite confident training one?
Mhm.
If you're not, then we always recommend finding a trainer or an organization first, and then they can help you pick that puppy to set you up for success. So you've got less chance that they're not going to make it.
Yeah.
So for example, we would say, come to us, we will help you find a litter, so we'll make sure that they're health tested, they're well bred. We
Mhm.
can help you do a temperament test on the litter and see which one might be best for you for your disability.
Right.
Um, um, so yeah, they'll get the puppy, they'll bring it home. For the first few months, we always recommend just focusing straight on your bond, socialization,
Mhm.
toilet training. Those are kind of your main things because
Yeah.
stock has to be sanitary, so they can't toilet anywhere. So that's one of the biggest things. And then you've got things like socialization. So we don't want them to be scared of things like trolleys going past, people
Mhm.
going past, regardless of what they're wearing. So for example, some puppies will be really scared of people with hoods up or if they've got like hat glasses on. So we want to make sure that they're very, very comfortable with all of that before they start going in public.
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to build like a bad association. Like, so suddenly you've taken this puppy into public access, so you're going into these shops, and all of a sudden everything's very, very scary. And then
Yeah.
they kind of build that association that going into public is scary, which you
Yeah.
don't want for an assistant dog. You want them to be confident.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how you mainly start, and then we would start them on our program. So our program has 5 stages. Our stage 1 is their introduction to public access. So it's things like having their first task down. It's being able to listen to basic commands like a sit, down, stay, things like that.
Yeah.
Being able to have a leave it queue, so not having to pick up food on the floor. So if you're in a supermarket and I don't know, there's some random chocolate somehow on the floor that a kid's dropped, they're not
Yeah.
gonna bolt for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the main kind of thing. And then they work up through the stages all the way up to stage 5, which is our fully qualified one. Of course, they don't have to do it exactly through our stages. So the people that train it by themselves,
Mhm.
they have to meet the same standards, but they might train it slightly different. So it kind of depends how confident you are. Um, what kind of things you want to prioritize as well. So some people will want to prioritize a certain task over others. And you also have to consider the age of the dog as well. So for example, a 6-month-old puppy isn't going to be able to do scent training just yet because that takes quite a long process.
Yeah.
So you might be able to do things like behavioral interruptions, which is like where you scratch yourself, and then they stop you from doing that. So that can be a good starting point. Um, it's quite difficult to start the journey because especially on social media,
Mhm.
everyone kind of seems to think it's a race and they're all quick to try and get
Yeah.
to the train end of the train. People are rushing puppies into public access when they're not ready and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's hard because I find, especially as it is a lot of the younger generation, they can be a little bit judgmental of each other,
Mm.
which can make people feel bad, and then
Yeah.
they might want to give up on training their assistance dog. They might think they're not doing well enough, but actually, everyone's journey is really, really different. Every puppy is different, every individual is
Yeah.
different, every single person is going to have a different journey. And so I think it's really important just to, especially from day one that you consider getting an assistance dog, just think, okay, this is going to be an interesting journey. It's going to be completely unique to me. Uh,
Yeah.
and I just need to focus on what's good for me and the dog in front of me.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned with your program there that you have 5 stages. So do they have to do all of the stages to be like ticked off kind of thing? So they have to, and would you recommend when they've done the stage, so I'm just to understand it from a personal point of view that knows nothing about these kind of things. So do they have to wait until they've done like stage 5 before they can go out in like and use them as an assistance dog?
So they can go out as an assistant dog in training once they've passed stage 1. So stage
Right.
1 meets the legal requirements by the Equality Act 2010,
Mhm.
which is basically just things like the dog will not wander freely around the premises, they'll not foul in the premises, they can mitigate their handler's disability.
Mhm.
So once they pass stage 1, they can start going out in public, but they must be labelled as in training. Assistance dogs in training don't have the same rights as fully trained assistance dogs, so they technically can be denied access.
Right.
But there is the argument of if they mitigate their handler's disability and their behavior is not a risk to the public,
Mhm.
then they do technically meet the standards of a fully trained assistance dog already, so they
Right.
may not be allowed to be refused. So it's very much a what is the dog's behavior like? Can they
Mhm.
mitigate a disability? Which passing stage 1 they do at that point.
Yeah.
So it's very much case by case by case basis on
Yeah.
whether an assistance dog in training can be denied.
Yeah.
So they stay in assistance dog training from stage 1 to stage 4, and then stage 5 is what we call a public access test, which is where they do a big assessment and then they become fully qualified if they pass that. And then they can go out as a fully trained assistance dog after that.
Amazing. Amazing. Interesting. So I find it all really, really fascinating. So you mentioned that you do both remote training and in-person training. So can you explain the benefits of the remote training options and how this helps make the process more accessible for people that might not be able to do the in-person training?
Yeah, of course. So having an online service means that we are able to reach all areas of the UK. And
Mhm.
we don't even just help it within the UK, we do actually have other countries as well.
Amazing.
So we even have people that we support in the Netherlands, we have some people in Australia, some people in America. And we can't offer the exact same type of support. So for example, we can't provide like legislation support or access refusal support. We can just help with like the training.
Yeah.
But I feel like in some countries where owner training isn't as prominent, as long as it's still allowed, then we will very happily help them because there's
Yeah.
not that wide support community in that country for that yet.
Yeah.
I know especially in a lot of other countries, I feel like the UK and the US, they are very much used to having owner trained dogs by now, whereas other countries, I feel like it's only just being introduced. So being able to provide that support to them, I feel like is really
Yeah.
important as well. Another good thing about online training is, of course, we work with disabled people. So if they have a bad health day, it's like, okay, you don't have to come out, don't stress. If you're still
Yeah.
feeling well enough, we can just do it via a video call. So for
Yeah.
example, sometimes we can do it like this, where we'll literally just sit and we'll talk and then they'll go and practice it later.
Mhm.
Sometimes they can stand up with their dog, and I'll do it with my dog as well, and I can show them what to do, and then they can practice. I can watch and give feedback.
Yeah.
Um, it can also help with, for example, some people who have dissociative episodes. If they miss something and they miss something, like if they dissociate quite often, we can make an agreement. Okay, I can record it for you. I can send it to you again after, and then you can watch it back. And then you don't have to stress that you're going to miss something. You don't have to feel uncomfortable being like, oh, can you repeat that, please? If it happens quite a lot. I know some people can become quite uncomfortable repeating that a lot. So that gives
Yeah.
them that option to look back later. A lot of people aren't comfortable having like a camera on, they're not comfortable even speaking. So our online services don't just mean video call, so we can do a
Mhm.
voice call, so they don't have to show their face, we can just talk about it.
Yeah.
We even have our tech sessions. So going back to the people with non-verbal autism, if they don't like to speak, they can't speak via like a call like this, I will
Mhm.
literally sit on a session with them. So I will sit on their chat and we'll have a session over text as if we were talking, but it helps them be more comfortable in that they
Yeah.
don't actually have to speak and they can think about what they're saying before they type it.
Yeah.
And then if they need like a demonstration, I can always just quickly go and record one and then send it through. They can watch it and do it like that as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Amazing. So it makes it really, really accessible for a diverse range of people's needs, doesn't it? And I think that's, again, it stops people feeling so isolated and alone, doesn't it? It's like, so I need an assistance dog, but like you say, I'm non-verbal, so how is that going to work? And does it have to be on camera and those kind of things? So by having those different ways to help people, it just makes everything a lot more inclusive, doesn't it? And a lot easier for everybody.
Definitely, yeah.
So you mentioned building a supportive community. We've touched on it a few times during our chat and how that's really important. And I definitely think it's super important when it comes to any kind of community, because you build a community of like-minded people who just get it, don't you? So can you tell us a little bit more about the ways that you build your community and the importance of it and how you foster that community?
Yeah. So the assistance dog training world especially it's a very scary place actually. So even in just the normal dog training world, people are judging each other all the time on social
Yeah.
media for how well their dogs behave. But you have like an extra kind of level with an assistance dog because obviously you have extra legal rights. You're going out in public, and so
Yeah.
people jump on that and be like, "Oh, well, your dog's not this perfect
Yeah.
dog," and so people will jump on that. And so I think people are very quick to judge someone off of like a photo, a 3-second video, but you really can't judge dog's character off of that.
No.
So I wanted to create a space where people were very, very comfortable to come out and say, "Hi, I'm having this problem with my dog. Please help
Mm.
me." And
Yeah.
I feel like, especially our members, they will literally come into our group chat. They'll put a video in or just a massive like paragraph. They'll be like, "Right, this is what I'm struggling with. Can someone please help me?" And they'll at all the trainers and then we'll come in and help them. But it also just helps other people who may not be comfortable to speak up about it. They can then see it and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I was having that problem as well." Some people even start a little discussion about it, and we just have like really healthy discussions about training. And
Yeah.
there's no judgment. It's okay, this person's had a problem, but they want to fix it. They're reaching out for help because they want to fix it. And I
Yeah.
think it's so brave to be able to do that in this community, especially. So
Yeah.
I'm really proud that they feel comfortable to be able to do that as well. Um, I do find in assistant dog training, because of that kind of scary kind of aspect of people judging you, that
Mm.
a lot of people lose their motivation very quickly. They feel like my dog's not doing well enough because they're not as good as this dog.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of our community, they will purposefully go out their way and be like, right, okay, you might find this thing scary, but you guys have got this, and they'll all go and
Yeah.
support each other. I've like some days I log on and I look in the group chat. I've not even done anything that day, and they'll be organizing like a group call where they go and train together. So they're
Amazing.
not actually together in person, but they'll have a little call and they'll all be going out together in like different shops whilst they're on the call. So
Amazing.
like if they're worried about having an access issue, they're like, right, we're all listening, we've got you.
Yeah.
Happens. Or they'll train like the same thing, like they can set their camera down on like a shelf or something and they'll all practice like heel work or things like that. And I think that just really helps them motivate each other as well. Like, okay, because I know, for example, me especially, this is really unrelated, but going to the gym, I find it really hard unless someone goes with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that. Don't worry. Yeah.
So I feel like if they're able to go training together, they might not necessarily be together in person, but
Yeah.
they go out. But then a lot of them do meet up in person as well, and we don't even have a say in it. They just go do it, and it's really amazing to see be able to make
Yeah.
friends as well. So I feel like when you are disabled, it's so difficult to make friends, find people that get you, find people that you bond well with. So for them to be able to then go out and do things together with friends and that have their support, and
Yeah.
it's just really lovely to see. And I feel
Yeah.
like in our support community, specifically, we don't separate our staff from our members. We are very much in with our members. We listen to everything that they say. Every
Yeah.
single month we do little feedback forms where we take on feedback, and we'll try and implement as much as possible where it's like
Yeah.
appropriate and things like that. But for example, when we're in our group chats, I will literally just talk as a normal person. I'm
Yeah.
not a massive person. I'm not above anyone. I'm
Yeah.
exactly the same as you guys. I'm here training my assistance dog.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so important for them to be able to feel comfortable to reach out to us for help.
Yeah.
They feel like they've actually got like a friend. I feel like our community is just a bunch of friends hanging out, which is exactly what I wanted it to be.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And like you say, with the normal dog training industry, it can be quite judgmental and it can be quite, you can be quite isolated. I've definitely felt that throughout my career and journey with my own dogs. And I think just having that, it's a big reason why I created the Neuro Hub Facebook group and stuff, because I think the more I started talking out about my story and my experiences, other people are like relate to it and they're like, oh, me too. And it helps them feel more feel less isolated. And one of the things that I've found, the main thing I've found, is the reason I started the community is because I felt that way. I felt isolated. I felt like, oh, so I'm like, I know what, I'll just start a community and start being honest. And then I've got this nice little community of other people that have felt this way that haven't necessarily said that thing. And you're like, oh, actually, in me speaking out, and because I was feeling isolated, I now got this nice little community of other people that just get it. So yeah, I completely get
Yes.
that. So it's nice. So
It's
when it
so
comes
nice.
to any dog professionals that are listening, so I know I've mentioned before when I started going down the rabbit hole of it was just so overwhelming, just the amount of different things out there. But if there's any dog professionals that are listening that are interested in diving more into this area and wanting to help out and learn a little bit more, do you have any kind of volunteer opportunities or anything they could do, or any advice and things that they could get involved with?
Yeah, of course. So our main kind of volunteers that we're looking for at the minute are things like puppy raisers and trainers. So puppy raisers are ones that will just look after a puppy, but they have the experience of how to look after a puppy. They know kind of the basis. So hello. So the puppy raisers, they'll look after the puppy for a certain amount of time. They'll join our training sessions. And they help to train the puppy basically. So
Yeah.
it's a program puppy in a way that it's not trained specifically by the disabled person who is going to have the assistance dog, but it also helps us train more puppies, more than just like, for example, I only have one at a time. And we only have one other trainer at the minute, and we have 2 trainees. So there's not many that we can train at one time. So having
Yeah.
puppy raisers will help us be able to shorten that wait time. So, for
Yeah.
example, other charities have like 5-year wait list. Ours is ish about 1 or 2. So if we have more puppy raisers, then we can shorten that list and we can make it more accessible for more and more people.
Wow.
Having volunteer dog trainers as well, that is very, very helpful. Obviously, we can only cover a very short space of the UK in person. A lot of people do benefit more from in person because you just get more from it, more demonstration and things like that. So being able to cover more areas definitely helps, and then being able to have more members even helps as well. So like our trainers can help cover people. So for example, at the minute we have to have a wait list because we have too many calls per day that we can't really fit any others in. Whereas if we have some more dog trainers, they can take on some of those, and then so we have more time to focus on people who still need help but aren't getting anything yet.
Yeah, amazing. So hopefully people that are listening to this will come along and get involved, because I think it's like I say, we all love dogs, we all love dog training. I think, like I say, sometimes even when your volunteers, do they have to do a set amount of hours when they volunteer, or how much of a commitment is it?
We are honestly very, very flexible. You can kind of do as many hours as you can or you need. I feel like when it's a volunteer position, we're just very, very grateful that you've even come to us and are wanting to help us. Mimi, he did. So yeah, we're just very grateful that you're even coming to help us, if anything. So we're very happy if, like, for example, you can only do like 1 or 2 hours a month. That's still 2 people that you're helping.
Yeah, amazing. And I think that's good. I'm glad I mentioned that actually, because a lot of people can sometimes be put off by volunteer roles because they'll think, oh, I have to do X amount of hours and I just simply can't fit it into my day. So there might be people listening that want to help, but they say they can only offer a couple of hours a month, but definitely still apply and that'll still be a help to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Super. So, and then for anybody listening who is neurodivergent or has disability, and interested in training their own assistance dog, what advice would you give them to get started? So, what would you say if somebody come to you today, and said, "Oh, I just want to train my assistant dog. I don't know where to start. Where would you signpoint them to?"
So the very first thing I'd always say is just consider and talk with friends and family, your support network. Can I look after a dog? That's kind of your very, very first step. Am I in the position where I'm able to look after a dog? Can I afford a dog? Can I take it on walks? Can I exercise it? Am I able to feed it? Things like that. And that might not necessarily be that you have to do all that by yourself. If you have like carers, if you have friends, family, literally anyone, neighbors, do you have a support network that can help you do that? After that, it kind of depends on how confident you are. So if you're confident on training a dog, say for example, you just want help with assistance dog training, you could quite easily train the dog to have really good behavior first and then work on the tasks later. But if you prefer to do the tasks earlier on or you're not as confident, we always do recommend reaching out to a trainer first because that can give you the best chances of success as well. And then I guess the biggest thing is don't compare yourself to others as hard as it is to say. It's not a race as much as people like to make it out to be. Just really focus on the dog in front of you and ask questions, no matter how you feel comfortable to do so. If it's through a message, if it's through an anonymous message, if it's through a call, however you're comfortable to ask questions, just ask them. And I find, especially in the dog training world, there is not a single stupid question you can ask.
No, definitely not. No, every day is a school day, even for us that have been in it years and years. So there's always something else to learn. Oh, yes. Definitely. So just to finish off with, so we can get to know you as a person a little bit more, I've just got 5 quick fire questions. So you can just answer them on the fly, on the spot, so we can get to know you a little bit more. So the first one is tea or coffee?
Tea.
Tea, definitely. I'm a tea person as well. So if you had to pick one, what is your favorite dog breed?
Oh, German Shepherd, I think. Bean stole my heart.
Oh, amazing. What's your go-to dog product that you use or recommend all the time?
Oh, you know what? I might have to say a Kong. That's a lifesaver. Pop it in the freezer with some peanut butter in it. Game changer.
Amazing. Lead walk or off-lead adventure?
Oh, I say it depends where it is. Because I feel like at parks at the minute, off-lead dogs.
But
I don't know. I feel like I would say my best place would be on a beach, and I'd always have like a long line on, just because I feel like I panic too much that she's gonna swim too far out.
Oh, definitely. My Springer Spaniel, we took him to the beach one time and he literally thought, oh, he's just going in. He went and swum and to chase the seagulls, and we were literally having to wade in after him. I'm like, oh my goodness. So definitely a long line is recommended. And then the last one, what is your favorite way to recharge after a busy day?
Oh, normally I would say either playing a game, I do like playing games, or just sitting in bed watching something like a good movie. My dog's asleep on my legs, usually crushing me.
Amazing. It's quite funny because a lot of people have said, it's 2 people that have been on the podcast have said they like either reality TV or like high crime dramas like murders or thrillers or something. I'm like, that's quite a contrast. So but
Definitely.
And then finally, if anybody wants to work with you, either if they're interested in their own assistance dog or if they want to volunteer for you from a dog trainer point of view, where's the best place to contact you? Where can they get hold of you?
So you can either go onto our website, which is www.canineallies.co.uk, and there's a little contact form, or you can email us at info@canineallies.co.uk.
Amazing. And what I'll do is I'll get the links off you and I'll put them below the podcast for anybody to just easily click the link. So thank you very much for coming onto the podcast. I've absolutely loved chatting to you and learning more about this. It's something that I could chat to you for ages, because it's one of those areas where I'm just like, wow, I'll go down this rabbit hole and there's just so much to learn. So hopefully our listeners have got something from it. So thank you very much for coming on. And so we shall say goodbye. And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure that you hit subscribe or you hit follow to make sure you never miss a future episode. So it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Emily. Thank you very much.